On day 1, I spawned in as a baby hedgehog. I bet I'm super fast. Nope, that must be my blue cousin. Just then, I heard rustling in the bushes and saw a snake was headed right at me. That's when I realized I only had 5 hearts. I better get going. My spines might protect me against the snake, but I don't want to take the risk. After some running around, I found a small hole to hide in and finally seemed to lose the snake. I'm glad to finally be safe. Just then, I noticed I had run into an entire den of snakes. Oh no, not safe. I took off once again, this time making sure to keep the coast clear. I then found myself at a village full of people. I wouldn't usually try to steal, but I'm really hungry, and I'm sure they wouldn't mind. I grabbed myself a bunch of potatoes, carrots, and wheat. Yum, yum, yum. This is so tasty. I wish I could share this with my family, but they're nowhere to be found. Night was coming, but for some reason, I could still see clearly. Wow, I have perfect vision. It must be the eye of the hedgehog giving me night vision. Sweet. Maybe this isn't such a good thing. There's mobs everywhere. I guess ignorance is bliss. I better hide. I found a small burrow nearby and hopped inside. I'll look for my family tomorrow. They could be in danger from those snakes, but for now, I need some rest. I woke up on day 2 and exited my burrow. My family still wasn't anywhere in sight. My family still isn't anywhere to be found. I went to go and make myself some gear to protect myself from any possible snakes roaming around. I chopped down as many trees as my little hedgehog hands could reach, and then built a crafting table to create a set of tools. Once they were finished, I found myself a cliff to start mining some cobblestone from, and I even found some coal. Hopefully these tools will keep me safe. I then heard a growl from behind me, and when I turned around, I saw a bear charging at me. I used my newly made stone tools to try and fight back, but the bear packed a massive punch. Oh no! Still not safe! I was quickly knocked down to just 2 hearts, so I made a run for it. I had no other option. I'm clearly not safe at daytime either. I need to build myself a base to keep me safe from the dangers of the overworld. I found myself a calm spot on the edge of a cliff and decided to dig myself a small hidey hole. As I was digging out my base, I was confronted by a group of squirrels. Don't try and hurt me, or I'll show you the power of my stone sword.
We're not here to hurt you. We're being chased by an evil fox and we need somewhere to hide. Can we stay in your base for the night?
Of course you can. Come help me build it. The squirrels helped me mine a small base for us for the night, and we even built each other our very own rooms. They insisted on having fancy doors, but I was happy with my room's entrance. You guys seem pretty cool. Want to be friends? They told me that tomorrow they'd show me a surprise as a thank you for keeping them safe last night. It's nice to finally have some sort of family, even if they aren't hedgehogs like me. I woke up on day 3 and found my squirrel friends waiting for me. Hey, what's up, guys?
We really appreciate your help yesterday and wanted to show you to our home village. Here, come with us.
We left on our journey, and soon enough, we found ourselves at a small village full of all kinds of small animals, such as chipmunks and other hedgehogs too. This must be my family. Who are you guys? I've been looking all over for you. How come you're staying here in this village now instead of out in the wild?
We tried to bring you with us, but we got attacked by some kind of massive fox and had to escape. Luckily, you're back home with us, but I'm honestly surprised you managed to survive out on your own.
Why did the fox attack you? I thought foxes didn't eat hedgehogs.
You don't know. That massive fox has been killing and capturing all kinds of creatures around here. I wouldn't want to run into him again, because next time I don't think we'd be so lucky.
After a while of talking, my dad told me to go and explore our new home. I looked at my family and my new friends and was happy to finally be at peace. Just as I thought that, a pack of foxes attacked the base and started hurting everybody in sight. I watched as one by one the foxes killed my entire community. I went to go and try to help my family out, but I knew I was too late. I saw the foxes run off into the distance, and none of my friends or family were left standing. Just as things were starting to look up, I lost everything. I wanted to go after them, but I knew I wasn't strong enough to take on the entire pack. But when I get strong enough, I'm going to teach those foxes a lesson. I was just about to leave the destroyed village when I saw a squirrel trapped in some of the rubble. Hey, don't worry, I'll get you out of there. The squirrel was exhausted and was too tired to talk, but I broke him out of the rubble and took him home with me. He told me his name was Scott. When we got home, I made sure to give Scott one of the fancy rooms, and I decided to do some decorating too. As me and Scott were going to call this hidey hole our home, we needed to at least make it feel comfortable and homely. Now this is more like it. The decorations make our house feel like a home. I placed down a bed for Scott, then myself, and went right to sleep. On days 4 and 5, I started off the day by mining for some coal to make torches. Even though I can see in the base, I placed them all around to make sure mobs wouldn't cause us any trouble at night. As I was placing the torches, I was confronted by a fox. Not you again. This time, I won't let you get away. What are you here for?
I'm going to bring you back to my lord, the mutant fox. He's hungry, and you look like the perfect size snack.
There's no chance that'll happen. Bring it on. The fox lunged at me, and we fought hard and long. I won't let you hurt any more animals. Even just one fox was really hard to battle, but I learned that if I turned my back on him and let him touch my spines, he'd take damage. And whenever he got hurt from one of my spines, I could turn around and hit him with my sword. It took a while, but eventually I managed to get the better of him. If that was how strong one fox is, I can't even imagine a whole army of them. And what about their leader, the mutant fox? If he's able to control armies of the foxes, he must be dangerous. I better go and prepare. On days 6 through 8, I started off my morning by building Scott his own treehouse. My cave is nice and cozy, but squirrels aren't night animals like me, so I'm sure he'll appreciate the light. Scott was still sleeping, but I knew he'd appreciate it when he woke up. The house turned out great. Next, I went out into the forest when I ran into a cave and decided to go and explore it. Inside, I found loads of coal and iron. I didn't waste any time and filled my inventory with as much of them as I could find. I started making my way back home with my inventory full of resources, but that's when I ran into another bear. I've become a lot stronger than I was last time. I'm going to take you on. I charged at the bear, and I felt my attacks doing some good damage, but his claws still hurt me a lot. I should have really made myself a set of armor. I had to run away. I eventually returned back home and put all my iron into my furnaces. While they were cooking, I decided to set up a farm next to my home for some food. This should keep us from starving for a while. I then went to grab the smelted iron from my furnaces and crafted myself an iron sword, pickaxe, and shovel, and even had enough leftovers to craft myself an iron helmet and some boots. My body wasn't fully protected yet, but hopefully my spines would keep the enemies from hitting me where I'm not covered. Scott then told me he wanted to go and check out his new house. We went to check it out, but as we made it there, I realized I had forgot to light up the tree with torches, and there were mobs everywhere. Don't worry, Scott, I'll handle this. With the power of my new armor and iron sword, I was able to slash through these mobs like they were nothing. Me and Scott went to sleep after this. I may be a lot stronger now, but even superheroes need sleep. On days 9 and 10, I was woken up abruptly by Scott.
Wake up, Silly-o! I was on an early morning walk and ran into the mutant fox terrorizing a squirrel settlement. You have to go and save them. Maybe with your new gear, you stand a chance at beating him.
I think so too, but I'll need your backup. I followed Scott to the squirrel settlement, where I saw a massive fox destroying the squirrels' homes and killing whoever got in its way. I didn't expect him to be that big. Hopefully my new gear helps me stand a chance. I couldn't let the mutant fox hurt any other creatures though, so I ran into the settlement and attacked him. I won't let you hurt anybody else. The mutant fox hit hard, and I could see how he controlled such a massive army. He was super strong. It doesn't matter how strong you are. I won't ever give up.
You're just a pathetic little hedgehog. Get out of my way before I crush you like I did your family.
I wouldn't let him get away with that, but I attacked him again. This time though, he struck me and left me with just half a heart. Right when the mutant fox was about to put an end to my journey, Scott jumped from one of the trees and knocked the mutant fox back. Scott wasn't strong enough to fight him either, but thanks to him, we managed to make our escape in the nick of time. We had to make our way home as we weren't able to stop the mutant fox, and we had to leave him at the settlement to cause even more havoc. We were lucky to make it out of there alive. On days 11 through 14, we arrived back home and saw a rabbit waiting at our home's entrance. Hey, what are you doing here, bud?
I saw you try and fight the mutant fox over at the squirrel settlement earlier, and I was impressed by your bravery. My family was killed by the mutant fox, so I'm all alone now. Would you mind if I joined you?
Don't worry, I'll take care of you. I built the rabbit his very own section to my home and decorated it with some earthy blocks to not make him feel trapped underground.
Thanks, but I actually like the stone. It keeps me cool down from my thick fur.
Suit yourself. Now that my friend group was expanding, I knew I'd need more food to feed us all. I left my base with the intention of finding some tasty cows to bring home when I ran into a group of skeletons under a cliff. I don't want to risk these guys taking out my farm whenever it's built. I should take them out. I took the skeletons on, and after a while, I managed to kill them all without much of a fight. I went to pick up their bones, which got me thinking, these will come in handy. I crafted myself some bone meal, which I would use to plant a massive tree at the center of my base later on. I eventually found a group of cows cows, which I brought back home with some wheat I had stolen, borrowed earlier, and finally built them a pen to stay in. This should keep our stomachs full. I needed to make sure I could feed them though, so I set up a farm nearby. I hoed the land and made sure to plant potatoes, carrots, and seeds to keep us all well fed, and used the bone meal from the skeletons to help grow the food faster. Now this is more like it. I didn't want to end the day off quite yet, so I decided to add one final addition to my home that was missing, and that was a statue. I wanted the statue to look like my blue cousin, because my family used to tell me he was really strong, so this will be our beacon of hope. I started off by laying down a bunch of wood, which I had gathered along the way. After finishing it off, I realized it looked pretty bad, and I'd need some more colorful blocks, but that'll have to wait for later. On days 15 through 17, I was out in the forest, looking for some sheep to bring back home to help me build that statue, when I was once again attacked by the bear. Are you serious? Again? I tried to run away, but the bear was faster than before. I wonder what he eats for breakfast to make him that fast. I spotted a hut in the forest and made a run for it, making it inside just in time to escape the bear. Phew, that was close. I turned around and saw a badger just staring at me.
You were running from that bear, huh? This isn't the first time somebody's come barging into my home escaping that bear.
It isn't? How hungry can that bear be? I'm sorry for breaking into your house, but how do you manage to live here with that bear roaming around?
Oh, the bear doesn't bother me anymore. He tried attacking me once, but after I hit him just a few times, he stopped bothering me. And now he lives in fear of me.
In fear of you? How can I become strong like you? There's a mutant fox roaming around, bullying and hurting everything in its sight, and I want to stop him.
Well, I was trained by someone way stronger than me. He lives in solitude in one of the deepest caves in the land. I can tell you where to find him, but it won't be an easy journey, and there will be loads of obstacles on the way.
That's okay. Nothing will stop me from taking on that fox. The badger told me where his cave was located, and I decided to head back home. On days 18 through 20, I arrived back home when I noticed something was off. Scott seemed to be gone. I went to the rabbit to ask where Scott could have left, but he told me Scott had been gone ever since he woke up. I wonder where he is, but I think I know where I can find him. I made my way back to the squirrel settlement and found it fully destroyed by the mutant fox. When I arrived, I saw Scott looking gloomy, staring at the destroyed settlement. Hey there, Scott. How are you doing?
I felt bad about not being able to take down that mutant fox, and I came here to challenge it all by myself, but it was already gone.
I feel bad too, but we need to work together. It would be foolish challenging the mutant fox alone.
You're right. Let's go back home.
On the way back home, I told him about the badger I had come across, and that there was somebody who could train me to become strong enough to kill the beast. Scott got really excited and showed me to a little project he'd been working on while I was out at the badger's house. He had made an entire sheep farm, and he even gave some shears to harvest the wool. Thank you. Don't mind if I do.
I know you want to build a statue of your cousin, so I also got you some poppies to color the wool red.
I thanked Scott and got right to work. I crafted red dye out of the poppies and dyed the wool red. I then got to work on the statue. I replaced the wood blocks with red dye, and it took a lot of work, but it already started looking a lot better. The statue is going to be massive, so I'm going to need a lot more wool, but I can't wait to finish this up. On days 21 through 23, I went out to go and look for some more iron. I was long overdue for an upgrade. After some exploring, I ended up finding a mine shaft, but I was ambushed by a horde of spider zombies. There were a lot of them, but I eventually managed to kill each and every one of them. Just then, I felt myself grow in size and gain 5 more hearts. I feel awesome! I also seemed to unlock a new ability, which was shooting my spines. I wasn't able to control it very well though. I'm gonna need some more practice. I then went back home and finished off my set of iron armor by crafting an iron chestplate and some iron leggings. This was long overdue. On days 24 through 28, I heard some noises from above me. I looked up and could see some ocelots at the top of our sunroof. Oh no, they must be working with the mutant fox and want to hurt my friends. I better go and fight them off. I made my way to the top of my base, and to my surprise, they wanted to come live with us for safety. They explained to me that the mutant fox was no longer targeting small prey, but bigger animals too, and thought the only safe place for them to hide was with me. They also said my cows look really tasty, so I'm sure that'll keep them from eating my friends. I wanted to give them a warm welcome to my new pals, so I decorated an entire section of my base for them, adding them their very own pool with fish in it, just in case they got hungry. I also realized that my sunroof being open could be a pretty dangerous thing, so I went to grab some sand, smelted it into glass, and filled the gap with it, to block it off from enemies, but still provide us with sunlight in the days. Oh, and also, if I'm gonna want to stand a chance of defeating that evil fox, I'll need all the help I can get from you guys, so make sure to subscribe to the channel to help us beat that villain. On days 29 through 32, I wanted to go and look for a master to train me to become stronger. My new Ocelot friends could take care of my base while I was gone, so I felt safe leaving Scott in charge. I started my journey up north, where the master was supposed to be located. I saw some blue orchids along the way that I decided to take with me to dye some more wool. But as I got distracted, I didn't realize that pesky bear attacked me once more. Okay, this is enough. This time I've gotten stronger. Take this! I charged at the bear, and we fought hard and long. It didn't take long though before the bear overpowered me and knocked me into a pit. The bear approached me one last time, and this time I knew my luck was out. Until out of nowhere, the bear was knocked far away, and I heard as it ran away into the distance. I dug myself out of the pit and saw it was the badger here to save me.
You have much to learn, little hedgehog. Let me take you to the caves.
On days 33 through 36, we arrived at the cave systems the badger had told me about earlier, and we went inside. So where's this master you told me about? I want to start my training.
Well, it's actually me.
Wait, what?
Yes. See, I didn't want to tell you earlier, because if you were a minion of the Mutant Fox and you had told him about me, I don't know if I could have survived that fight at my age, but I can teach you everything I know, if only you're ready.
Let's go! We started our training immediately. First, he made me parkour on the plants to increase my agility. This was hard, but I got the hang of it eventually. I then did some wall climbing, and the badger seemed to enjoy my struggle to climb the vines. Next up was strength training. He made me fight dummy foxes to increase my strength.
Not bad for a hedgehog.
After that, I swam up and down the waterfall to make sure I mastered all the elements.
You've done well, little one, but there is one final challenge for you to beat before you can truly master your hedgehog powers. You must head to the edge of the sea and fight the dreaded giant mosquito. If you are able to defeat it, that will signify that you have outgrown me, and your training is complete.
Sweet! I went out to fight the giant mosquito, and it was larger than I expected. I'm going to swat you, you little insect! I hit the mosquito with my sword, and we battled for ages. It was a close battle, and he was way stronger than anything I had fought before, as he got me down to just 2 hearts. I used everything I had learned and training, and put my all into one last hit, and sliced down the giant mosquito. As I killed him, I grew to a full-sized hedgehog, with 14 hearts! Woohoo! My training paid off! On days 37 through 40, I made it back to the cave where the badger was patiently waiting for me. I did it, master! I managed to kill the giant mosquito!
Good job! Now, before you leave, Cilio, I suspect you have become strong enough both mentally and physically to be able to control your spike ability. Try shooting them at those targets.
I wasn't sure if he was right or not, but the training had clearly worked, as I could now shoot my spines with perfect accuracy. That's awesome! Thank you so much!
Here, take this enchanted chest plate too. It should help protect you from any mobs you might encounter.
Thank you! I offered for him to come with me for some safety, but he told me the caves would keep him covered, and I decided to leave and go back home. On the way back, I was once again attacked by the bear, and he charged at me at full speed. But thanks to my training, I managed to avoid his attack, and shoot him with my spines from a distance. Haha! You can't hurt me now! We fought some more, and the bear eventually managed to hit me, but I didn't take much damage. Wow! This armor must be crafted from some strong material. I then shot him with a few more of my spines, and finally managed to kill the bear that had been tormenting me this whole time. On days 41 through 44, I finally made it back home, and it was under attack by some foxes. I saw them lighting up some TNT, and knew they meant trouble. Oh no, they must have found out where I live. I better go and fight them. I charged into battle, fighting these foxes with everything I had. And even though they were able to take out my whole family earlier, I was able to hold my own, and even kill some of the foxes. The rest of the foxes made a run for it, but I had successfully managed to protect my base, so I felt really accomplished by that. I went inside my base, and saw that a lot of my base had been broken down by those wolves. But to my joy, each and every one of my friends were alive.
Hey, Cilio, we managed to fight off the foxes, but they managed to cause some serious damage to our base in the process.
I knew it was foolish of me to leave my friends back home unprotected, so I decided to do something about it. I started mining deep down into the bottom of Earth to go mine for some deep slate, to create some hard walls to keep enemies from entering our home. But as I was looking around, I managed to find tons of diamonds! I know my new armor is really strong, but I'll never complain at an upgrade. I made it back home and crafted myself a diamond helmet, diamond sword, and a diamond pickaxe. And with my leftover diamond, I made a shovel. It may not be a full set, but I think this is enough to keep me safe for a long time. I then used the cobbled deep slate I collected to craft polished deep slate, and used that to create deep slate walls, which I put all around my entrance to keep unwanted visitors out. Finally, I made sure to rebuild my base, and add in some more decorations too, to show my friends that even if we get attacked, we get back on our feet and come back stronger. On days 45 through 49, I realized that my base was starting to look really good, and my gear was getting a lot more powerful, but my statue was starting to fall behind, so I wasted no time and got right to work. It looked like while I was gone, my friends had increased the size of my sheep farm, so I was able to collect tons of wool to use on my statue. I then dyed the wool blue with blue orchids I had found earlier, and got to work on the second part of my statue. I worked on my blue hedgehog cousin's torso and its arms, and it's really starting to remind me of him now. My parents would have loved to see this. This thing is starting to look amazing. I can't wait to finish it off. This thing is going to be huge. On days 50 through 53, I was mining deep in the caves when I ran into a pond. I hopped in and I instantly turned upside down. As soon as I started swimming, I was approached by a group of axolotls. They seemed to be impressed by the statue I was building and wanted to come and talk to me.
Hey there! You must be the hedgehog who's been fighting that mutant fox off. We're starting to get really scared in our little pond. Word around the caves is that the mutant fox has started raiding mobs on the ground too, and he might be coming after us next. Can we come home with you?
Of course! Come with me! I've got you covered! The axolotls came with me, but I saw they were drying out fast, so I quickly built them their very own pond. I already had a waterfall flowing into my base, so I just smoothed out the floor and made the pond a little deeper to give them more space. And finally, I added some underwater decorations to make them feel at home. They seemed to like it. On days 54 through 58, one of the axolotl came up to me and said one of their little ones disappeared in the night, and they suspected he could be in danger from one of the boars that lives deep in the cave systems. I wasted no time and went to look for him. I followed the stream of water down into the caves, where I found the little axolotl at the end of the stream. So I went to go and save him. As I was going up to him, I heard a grunt behind me and saw the boar charging right at me. I fought the boar, but this one seemed stronger than normal ones. I eventually managed to evade his attack and knock him right into the lava. Hey, you're safe now, buddy. I'll take you home. As we were leaving, he signaled to me that we should take a look a bit deeper into the caves. He showed me to a chest, which I opened, and inside it, I found a bunch of enchanted books, including protection and even a warden dragon helmet that halved any damage I'd take from enemies. Sweet! Thanks for bringing me here. From days 59 through 63, I decided to keep working on my statue. This time, I started building up his face, and oh boy was I excited to finish the statue off. It was turning out to be one of the coolest statues I've done so far. As I got back to my base, I heard everybody panicking and shouting. I went to ask them what was up. The ocelots told me that Scott had been taken by the mutant fox and was being held captive over a pit of lava. I asked them if they knew where Scott was being held, and one of them agreed to take me there. Before we left, one of the axolotls called me over to them to talk to me.
Hey, Silio, I know it's a scary world out there right now, so I want you to have this.
He gave me a golden apple and told me to eat it.
This is the last golden fruit left from our ancient stronghold. We want you to have it for protection out there.
I ate the golden apple and became even bigger, and I felt a whole lot stronger too. Thank you so much. I promise I'll bring Scott back home safe and sound. On days 64 through 68, I was traveling through the forest with the ocelot until he finally led me to the lava pit. And there Scott was, in a cage held above the lava. There was an entire lava volcano flowing into this pit, and some of it was even hitting the top of Scott's cage. I don't know how long he'll survive in there, but I have to go and save him now. I started making my way back to the cage when I noticed a massive zoglin blocking the way. This must be one of the mutant fox's minions. He looks strong, but I bet I'm stronger. I charged into battle, hitting him with my diamond sword. The zoglin seemed strong though, and seemed to be able to tank my hits well. It was really strong for being a pig, and super agile too. The mutant fox must have trained him well. I knocked him back, but just then he started doing loads of damage. That's when I realized all of my iron armor had broken. I was low on health when out of nowhere, the ocelot attacked him and pushed him into the lava, taking the zoglin out. Thanks for saving me. Now let's go and free Scott.
Thanks for saving me, Silio. Now can we go home? I'm exhausted.
Of course we can. And don't worry, Scott. I won't let you get hurt ever again. I was sleeping on days 69 through 74 when I had a nightmare of the mutant fox. In my dream, he had attacked my home, destroying it and hurting my friends. I was fighting him in my dream, where he overpowered me and killed me. I woke up in a cold sweat and came to the realization that I still wasn't strong enough to kill the mutant fox. But that was going to change. I told my friends to stay safe, as I was going on an adventure. I left my base and headed straight to the badger's cave to seek some more information. I eventually arrived there and found the cave destroyed and surrounded by a bunch of zombies, creepers, and skeletons. I didn't waste any time and attacked the monsters, killing each and every one of them until the surrounding was safe. I entered the cave and found the badger in a corner, and he seemed wounded.
Thank you for coming and saving me. Those mobs seem to be more powerful than the regular ones. I would have been toast if it wasn't for you.
I wanted to ask the badger so many questions, but now was not the time. I brought him right back home with me and let him sleep on my bed for the night. I'd ask him my questions tomorrow. I started off days 75 through 78 by building the badger his very own section to my base. He was in that cave for a very long time, so I didn't want him to feel like he was in a cave anymore. So I made sure to decorate his house well. I also made sure to place a bed for him because I wanted my own house back. Sleeping on stone was not a pleasant experience. He seemed to be doing well after a good night's sleep, so I asked him how I could possibly become stronger and be able to defeat the mutant fox.
Well, there is a legend of an ancient weapon that is held by a group of ancient nether wolves. They're an ancient group of creatures in the nether who contain immense power.
He then told me that there's no way the mutant fox would have been strong enough to take them out, and that I should go and seek help from them. If that's what it takes, I'll do anything to help my family out. I went mining for a bunch of obsidian for my portal, and tons of gravel for some flint. I then decided to build an enclosure around the portal, so none of my friends would accidentally end up in the nether. On days 79 through 84, I lit up the nether portal and stepped inside. The nether seemed pretty empty, so I started looking for the nether wolves. I spotted a massive building in the distance, and I knew that was it. I started making my way to it when I was ambushed by a massive horde of piglin brutes. There's a ton of them, but I'm stronger than I've ever been. These guys won't stop me. I fought them to the best of my abilities, slashing with my diamond sword and shooting them with my spines, until I finally took out each and every one of them. I collected the netherite they dropped, and kept on advancing towards the massive building, and eventually made it to the entrance. On days 85 through 88, I entered the building, and just like the badger had told me, I was met with a group of nether wolves.
What is an overworld being like you doing in our sacred palace?
I came here to seek help fighting the mutant fox, who's terrorizing everybody in the overworld. I heard you had some sort of weapon that could help me defeat him.
If you want us to entrust you with our weapon, you must prove us your worth.
They told me to go face a nether serpent that had been causing problems around. I went to go and look for it, and it didn't take me long before it approached me. Bring it on, you big worm! I hadn't fought a flying enemy before, so this was really good training for me. Not only did I learn to be more aware of my surroundings, but I got better at aiming my spines too. It didn't take long before I had shot the serpent right out of the sky. Take that, you crimson slug! I made it back to the Netherwolf's palace on days 89 through 92, where I shared the good news with them. I had taken down the Nether Serpent. They told me that the Nether Serpent was actually just an AI that was placed to test my abilities, and that they found me strong enough to be entrusted with their weapon.
Here, take this legendary sword. It will surely help you on your journey.
They told me it had an epic ability, so I really wanted to try it out. As I was leaving the Nether, I ran into another group of piglin brutes. Let's give this sword a run for its money. I attacked the piglins, and not only did the sword do a lot of damage, but it seemed to give them a fossilized effect, which stopped them from moving. I could then easily shoot them down from a distance and take each one out. This is awesome! That mutant fox is going down! I made it back home on days 93 through 96, when I came to the realization that I was finally ready to go and face that mutant fox. But I knew I had some important business to finish off before I left. I started finishing off my statue, adding detail to it, and wow was this thing massive! I wonder how I'm going to get down from here. This is perhaps the coolest statue I've made so far. Hopefully this statue will keep my friends' hopes high while I'm gone. I bet my cousin would have loved to see this too. I realized that I didn't know where the mutant fox lived, so I decided to ask my friends if anyone knew where he could be staying. And the badger gave me a map with the coordinates to its hideout. I thanked him and went to say goodbye to my friends. I was sad to leave them here unsafe, but I knew I had to fulfill my duty to my family and everybody in danger by facing that mutant fox. So I left on my journey to go and find him. I started following the map on days 97 through 99 when I ran into a village that had been pillaged by the mutant fox. I went to check on the damage he had done, and it was done. I thought he didn't leave a single villager alive, so I left the village. But just then, I heard a child's voice call for me. I turned around and saw a small kid run towards me.
Please save me! I don't know where my family are. I heard explosions in the night and I'm scared.
There's no way he can keep hurting all these people. I gave the child my map, and showed him where he could find safety. I told him my friends would look after him, and he was off on his way. I spent the rest of the day looking for the mutant fox, but it was hard without a map, so I decided to rest for the night. I dug out a little hidey hole in the desert, but when I went to go and sleep, I ran into a scorpion. Whoa! What are you doing here? Don't you recognize me? I'm you! And you're me! Wait, what? Don't you remember? You played for 100 Days as a Scorpion a couple videos ago. Oh yeah, I remember. That was a crazy video. And do you remember the massive mutant spider you fought? That was an intense challenge. It was super emotional, and I'd say it's definitely worth a watch. I completely agree. The Scorpion then went its own way, and I slept for the night. I woke up on day 100 to an explosion. That must be the mutant fox. I followed the sounds and found him attacking yet another village. I instantly confronted him. Bring it on, you evil beast. I have the power of the Nether Wolf's sacred weapon by my side. I'm not scared of you.
Did you really think I hadn't prepared for that? I drank a potion that rendered that sword useless against me.
I didn't believe him, so I threw my sword right at him. But he was right. It didn't end up fossilizing him. It doesn't matter. I'll take you down either way. I started shooting my spines at the mutant fox, and it was dodging my shots well, but I still managed to get some good hits in. That nether serpent training was paying off. I then brought out my diamond sword and started slashing the fox with everything I had, but it was really strong. He hit me a lot, but I was getting tons of hits in too. I got low and managed to retreat into the village church building. I then climbed to the top of the building and put everything into my one last stance. Take this, you filthy fox! I fired one last spine at the mutant fox, killing it and ending its evil reign. The fight is finally over. The world is finally saved, and my friends and I can finally be in peace.